Hey guys, it's Hannah and long time no see. I know you guys have seen me sporadically because I've been online a bit, but not too much. But I haven't made a video in a while, like a solo video, and I apologize for that, but it's just been a really stressful time recently. So I've just been going through a lot of changes, obviously. As you can tell, I'm not at my regular setup, but I'm trying to just get myself back into the swing of filming and into my regular routine again. So I just want to thank you guys for being patient with me while I do that. But today I'm coming to you with a book haul, and I have not done a book haul in so long. I think this is technically my first book haul of the year, which is kind of astounding because it's May. So we're like halfway through the year at this point, honestly, and I still haven't done a single book haul, but I have bought plenty of books. I don't have all the books I've bought this year with me in this haul. This is just like a few of them, some of the ones I've acquired recently that I'm really excited to share with you all. But I've really missed filming book hauls. They're some of my favorite videos to film because I just think they're fun. So I'm really excited to get into this one today. So without any further ado, let's get into the books. So this video is being sponsored by The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg, and this book comes out on May 28th. There are a few things that I find really interesting about this book. In terms of summary, it takes place in a fantasy theme park where people who attend have the ability to like be in a virtual reality essentially, and you can like fly on dragons and do really cool stuff. And in this theme park, there are these android hybrid princesses, and our story revolves around one of these princesses named Anna, who one day ends up feeling an emotion, and that emotion is love, which she's not programmed to feel. And I just think that sounds so fascinating. I'm not usually super into sci-fi or anything, but the fact that this kind of combines sci-fi with fantasy is really intriguing to me. Also, one of the major themes of this story is the commodification of beauty, and I think that is one thing that I just really love to read about and something that should be in more YA novels. It's also been described as like dark Disney meets Westworld. Westworld is something I still haven't seen yet, but dark Disney definitely sounds like a lot of fun to me. This book just seems really unique to me in its concept, and I'm hoping that it lives up to my expectations because it sounds so good. So the next two books I have are two advanced reader copies that were sent to me by Simon Teen, so thank you so much to them. And they're two that I'm super excited about. The first one being Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I have a bookmark in here. That's the thing that just flew over, by the way. If you guys remember, I read Margaret Rogerson's debut novel, An Enchantment of Ravens, last year, I think, or maybe 2017. I don't remember. But I wasn't a big fan of that one just because I felt like the story was too short for me personally. Like I just wanted more out of it. But I did enjoy aspects of her writing. So I think this is actually going to be one that I really do like, in part because it's a lot longer than the other one. And I prefer longer stories, especially if it's a standalone fantasy. And all I really know about it is that it's about this girl who works in a library, and all she's known her whole life is that sorcerers are evil, until one day she has to encounter them and then reevaluate what she's been taught to believe. That totally sounds like my type of story, and I am in a serious fantasy mood at the moment. Like I keep flip-flopping between fantasy and contemporary, but right now I'm really craving some fantasy. So I'm hoping that this one fills that void. And the next advanced reader copy that I have here is one that I am so just like happy about because I have wanted this for a long time, and I've actually like, one of my goals was to have an arc of a book by this author before like I joined BookTube. Like when I first joined BookTube, I was like, one day I want to get a Cassandra Clare arc, and I finally have one. I actually have two now. I don't have the other one with me, but I got an advanced copy of Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, and I just like 13-year-old me, 12-year-old me who was obsessed with Cassandra Clare's books is really proud in this moment. I know that might sound weird, but yeah, I don't know why. I'm just really happy to have this. I have read actually a number of the stories that are in this. I read them last year towards the end of the year, and I did like what I'd read so far. But most of these stories follow Jem. That's all I really want to say because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who's not too into the series yet. But I do want to point out something else about this copy. So it actually starts upside down, and you have to read it like left or right to left. It's just like a printing mishap. But it was just so funny to me. Like I opened the book when I first got it and I was gonna start like reading out of it, and I was like, why is this upside down? And then I noticed it's also backwards. So I don't know, I have a special copy. It's gonna be really difficult to read from this. So I'll probably end up reading most of it from the finished copy, but nonetheless, I'm grateful to have this. So again, thank you so much, Simon Teen. All right, next up, I have some books that I recently ordered from from Book Outlet. It's been a while since I've done a Book Outlet haul, but it's also been a while since I've done any book haul. So if you don't know about Book Outlet, it's an online bookstore that sells overstocked books, and I have been obsessed with them for years at this point, and I've been a vlogger friend with them for years now, and I'm so grateful. I love working with them. So I'm excited to be working with them for this video as well. As usual, if you want to check out my Book Outlet vlogger friend page to see all the books I've ever ordered from them, you can go and check out that link in the description box below. But they provided me with a gift card and I ordered some books from them, and now let's get into them. First up, we have a book that I'm very excited to read and one I've been wanting to read for a long time. So when I saw that it was on there, I was really excited, and that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I don't know too much about this book other than Haley from Haley and Bookland has been recommending it to me nonstop, like since we became friends and she read it. It's historical fiction, and I think it's set in France, and I think it's the story of two sisters. Yes, the story of two sisters. And I love historical fiction, so I think this is definitely something I'm going to enjoy. I've heard it compared a lot to All the Light We Cannot See, which is one of my favorite historical fiction books I've read. So I'm super, super excited to dive into this one, and hopefully it lives up to my expectations. Next up, I have actually another recommendation from Haley, and one that I have already finished reading, and that is The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. This is a YA contemporary novel that takes place over the span of one day, essentially, where this girl is trapped in the Denver International Airport due to a snowstorm on her way trying to get back home, and it is the day before the 1-year anniversary of her best friend's death. So it's really a story about grief and loss and coping with grief and loss. In that respect, I think it was a really, really good story. As someone who is terrified of flying, like on planes, and getting stuck in airports and just gets a lot of general anxiety being in an airport, reading a book about being trapped in an airport was not too much fun. I'm really grateful that I wasn't reading it while I was on a plane, because I don't think I would have been able to handle that. I definitely would have had to like close it. Like, just warning you, the very like first page of this book is her on a plane when there's like a lot of turbulence and them like landing in a snowstorm. And that's like my worst nightmare. So yeah, just know that before you read this, because I didn't. But one of the cool things about reading this book for me is that I'm like super familiar with the Denver airport now, because I have flown in and out of there so many times. Like, I'm in Denver right now, and I got here through that airport. So I know it really well, which made reading this really interesting because like I know the layout of the airport at this point. So it was really easy to visualize this story for me. I don't know why I'm really going into like a whole review of it right now, but I feel like I just haven't talked about books for a while, so I kind of want to. But overall, I felt like I was really enjoying it in the beginning, and it was like a solid 4 stars. And then I got towards the end and it felt like the conflict that was created at the end was just added for like a little bit of extra drama, and the rest of the book was so slow paced, like nothing was happening, that like it all felt really rushed towards the end. So that's why it wasn't like my favorite. I ended up giving it like 3.5 stars, I think. I think it's a really good contemporary, especially if you're looking for a book that deals with grief and loss. But again, just know that a major part of this story is set in this airport, being trapped there, meeting someone. It's about romance. It's funny too, it's humorous for sure. But in my opinion, the ending was just a tad bit rushed. But overall, I think it's something that a lot of people would enjoy reading. Next up here, I have a book by an author that I read last year for the first time and really, really loved. So I decided that I want to try out her other books, and that is Donna Tartt, specifically The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I read The Secret History last year, loved that book. Genuinely, like, so good, so mysterious, so suspenseful. It was such a fun read for me. I've heard The Goldfinch is phenomenal as well, so I really do want to try this one out. So I was really excited to find a copy on Book Outlet. I don't know anything about this book, like I mean like absolutely nothing, and I don't want to know anything, so I'm sorry. I'm not gonna give you a summary. You can go and look it up if you want to, but I just want to go into it knowing nothing. That's what I did with The Secret History, essentially, other than knowing it was about like a mystery and someone getting murdered. I didn't know anything else about it, and I think that was the best thing for me. So I want to do the same thing with The Goldfinch, but nonetheless, super excited to dive into this one whenever I'm in the mood for another Donna Tartt book. Next up here, I have a sequel to a book that I still haven't read because I'm the worst, but I know it's a series that I definitely do want to read, and that is China Rich Girlfriend by Kevin Kwan. I already have Crazy Rich Asians. It's right here on my shelf. So now I have the sequel so I can read them back to back. I still haven't read this book yet. I know, like, I really need to. I love the movie so much and I'm so excited for the sequel movie. I just don't think I've been in the mood to read it recently, which is why I haven't picked it up. But I knew that I wanted to read the sequel and I want to read the whole series anyway, especially before the next movie comes out. So that's why I decided to pick this up when I saw it on Book Outlet. Next, I got a fantasy novel that I have seen like around, but I literally have heard nothing about. I don't even know what the story's about. I just love the cover and it has a dragon, so like I want to read it. But that book is Tessa of the Road by Rachel Hartman. I know that Rachel Hartman's the author of Serafina, but I've never read Serafina. I know that a lot of people really, really love that book, but I, for some reason, have seen this book on so many bookshelves in so many bookstores recently. I've just like seen it around on the internet, but I haven't seen anyone like talk about it. I haven't seen anything about like if it's good or not. But this is one of the ones I just wanted to pick up and just try without knowing a single thing about it, without hearing anyone else's opinion, and just see if I like it, because I love fantasy, I love dragons, and I always complain about how I need more fantasy books with dragons in them. So I thought that this would be a fun one to try out. And finally, the very last book that I picked up from Book Outlet is another historical fiction one that I've been wanting to read for a while because I've heard really good things about it, but I don't know anything about this book, which, as you all know, is how I like to read, and that is Salt to the Sea. I do know a little bit about the story. I know that it takes place during World War II and it follows the perspective of 4 different teenagers, I think, and that's all I really know. I feel like that's all I really want to know. The only thing I really like to know about historical fiction before I read it, like the thing I need to know, is what era it's set in. So like I know this is World War II and I do tend to like some World War II stories, so I was definitely intrigued by this. Also, the fact that it's a YA historical fiction is really interesting to me, and that it follows teenagers, which is not something you see almost at all in historical fiction. So yeah, I feel like this is something I'll really, really like, hopefully. Again, I don't actually know too much about what people think about it. I know that it's like pretty well loved, or at least I think the author is. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, still excited to read it and see what I think. Next up, I have a book that my sister recently got me, and she got it for me in Paris from Shakespeare & Company. I had one request when she went to Paris. I said, can you please go to Shakespeare & Company, pick out a book for me that you know I don't have, and get it stamped, because I love their stamps. And she got me a book that I'm so excited to have, and that book is Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is one of the beautiful Penguin Classic editions. I have The Great Gatsby in this edition, and it's like gold and gorgeous with like the foil, and I love all of these editions. The only Fitzgerald book I've read is The Great Gatsby, but I've wanted to read Tender is the Night for a while now, so I'm excited to have this one. I want like the entire collection because they're all so pretty, and all of them next to each other on a shelf would be so beautiful, but I feel like I need to read some of the books before I buy them because like I might not like them. Nonetheless, I'm still super excited to have this, and it has the Shakespeare & Company stamp. So I have 2 books now from Shakespeare & Company with the stamp, and I'm very, very happy about it. I just love that bookstore with all of my heart. And finally, moving on to the last 2 books that I have. This first one here is one that I bought from Barnes & Noble recently when I went there, because I've been wanting to read this for so long, and I started reading it while I was just sitting there, and honestly, I could have finished it, but I liked it so much that I was like, I need to buy this. Like, I want to own it because I like it that much. And that is The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. So like I said, I have already read this and I adored it. It is such a cute, heartwarming, important story. It's basically about this prince and this girl who is a dressmaker, and she ends up coming to work for the prince, who likes to wear dresses, and she works as his seamstress. So she makes dresses for him in secret so that he can wear them and go out in disguise, and it's just so beautiful. Like, the art is beautiful, the story is beautiful. I can't like express how much I loved this graphic novel. By far one of the best ones I've read recently. So I highly, highly recommend checking this out if you haven't. If you're looking for a new graphic novel to read, if you just want a really heartwarming story, please read this. It's wonderful. And finally, the very, very last book I have to share with you all in my haul is one that was so kindly sent to me by Melissa. I will leave her Twitter handle in the description box so that you can go and check her out. I was talking about on Twitter a little while ago about how I really wanted the Waterstones edition of Daisy Jones and the Six because it's beautiful. I'm not a huge fan of the US cover. And as you all know, I'm like kind of obsessed with this book at this point. I've read it like 3 to 4 times, like 3.5 times. I love it. Honestly, I think it's my favorite book right now and I'm just obsessed. But I wanted to order the Waterstones edition because it's so pretty. It has black sprayed pages, it has gorgeous end pages and a ribbon bookmark. So I was asking people on Twitter where I can find it because I didn't know where it was from. And then I found out that it was sold out. But then Melissa so kindly messaged me and offered to pick up the book from her local Waterstones because they still had it in stock. And then she sent it to me and now I have it and it's here and it's so beautiful. I don't know why it took me so long to show you guys the book. You guys have probably seen this like on my Instagram because I've been posting about it for a while. I posted about it on Twitter, but I haven't like shown it in a video yet and like feel like it deserves a video appearance. It's just so beautiful. It has like this gold foil, it has the spot gloss on the text, and then it has like one of those soft like buttery covers. The back has these palm trees in LA, and then the end pages are Daisy Jones and the Six like tickets. And it's so pretty. I just love the design of this book so much. And then of course it has the ribbon bookmark and then the black sprayed pages. Like everything about this is just so perfect and I feel like it fits the story so well. Whereas I don't feel that way about the US cover. So I am so happy to have this. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, it's signed by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is just like the icing on the cake. So again, a huge thank you to Melissa for offering to pick it up from your store. It meant the world to me and it saved me so much like hassle of trying to find it somewhere else. But yeah, thank you so much. It meant everything to me and now it's literally like one of my favorite books I own. But there you all have it. That is it for my book haul, my first book haul of the year, I guess. That's so weird. I don't think I've ever gone this long without posting a book haul. Once again, don't forget to check out all the info for The Kingdom. I'll have the links for it in the description box if you're interested, as well as my book outlet vlogger friend page. And again, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for being so patient with me and for still being here, even though I've needed to just take some time away. I love you all so dearly and I hope that after this I will get some more momentum to come back and make videos in full stride. I also will be doing a lot of traveling coming up, so you guys are gonna get a lot of vlogs. I'll be in New York for Book Expo and BookCon, so if you see me there, please do say hi. I cannot wait to meet so many of you guys and I'm so excited. Also, you're getting like a little bit of a sneak peek for one of my outfits for BookCon. I wasn't gonna wear it for this video, but then I was like, I may as well. I love it. If you'd like to follow me on any of my social media, all my links are in the description box as always, but thank you all so much for watching this video. I love you all so dearly and I will see you in my next video. Bye!